Hi everyone, my name is Maria Molina. Today I'm going to talk about Paul Case. Paul Case, a student in temperament, short story writing by Willa Carter. Before we explore the story, it's important to understand the background of the author and the time in which the story was written. Willa Carter was an American writing born in 1873 in Virginia, but she spent most of her life living in Nebraska. Her writings often reflect life on the American frontier and the experience of the immigrants. Willa is considered one of the most important American authors of the early 20th century. She is best known for her novel like My Antonia, but she also wrote powerful short stories like Paul Case, which was first published in 1905. The story was written during a time of rapid industrial growth in the United States. In the early 1900s, cities like Pittsburgh and New York were expanding fast. This brought new opportunities, but also create pressure and a growing gap between rich and poor. This context is key to understand Paul, the main character of and his obsessions with wealth, beauty, and art. Carter belonged to the literary movement called Realism, which animate to show the life as it really is, without romanticizing. However, Paul's case also has touches of modernism, especially in the way it explores Paul's inner life, alienation, and physical struggle. The story was first published in Matt Clurin's magazine in 1905 and later included in Carter's 1906 collection, The Toral Garden. At the time, its reserve mixes reviews. Some paradise its physiology depth, while others found it too dark. Today, however, it is one of the most studied works and is often seen as a powerful example of early physical fiction. How view of the story? The story follows Paul, a high school student that lives in Pittsburgh, who doesn't find he hates his school, his teachers, his father, and especially his middle class home or home on Cordelia Street. What he loves is art, theater, and luxury. Paul lives to her father and co-workers steals money from his job and runs away to New York City, where he lives a few days of extravagant fantasy in a hotel. But when the money runs out and he learns that his father is coming for him, Paul feels trapped again. Unable to face routine to his old life, he jumped in front of a train and died. This this script is crucial because it contains Paul escape to New York. He hate of his fantasy and finally he tried realization and downfall. In this picture is the life of Paul's want and fantasy that he want to take but he'd never take this life. Character analysis. In Paul's case, a student in temperament, there are only a few important characters because the story focuses mainly on Paul's inner world and the personal struggle. First, Paul, the protagonist. Paul is a sensitive and dreamer teenager. he feels out of place in the school, at home, and in society. He is obsessed with beauty, music, and luxury, and he dreams of escaping his boring life. Paul represents important themes like alienation, identity, and the conflict between fantasy and reality. The Paul Fathers. Paul Father is a structured, patriarchal, and emotional distant. He worked hard and believed in traditional values like responsibility and hard work. He wants the best for Paul, but doesn't understand him. He represents the world Paul wants to escape from. And the teachers. At the beginning of the story, Paul is reprimanded by his teachers. They see him as disrespectful and strange. These characters represent authority and the strict, conser- conservative education system like his father. They don't understand Paul's uh, for need for something more. Other characters. The theater performer, the young actor or soprano. This character appreciates Belfield, but Paul admires him deeply. He represents the artistic glamour world Paul desires. Some interpretations suggest Paul may feel a romantic or emotional attraction to him. The hotel stays in New York. These characters are not deeply developed, but they are part of Paul's fantasy life when he stays in a luxury hotel. They represent the surface level beauty and elegance that Paul's want to belong and summary. The only full developed character is Paul. The others are supporting figures who reflect different parts of Paul. Struggle this need for beauty, his rejection of authority, and his deep sense of isolation. Literary elements and techniques. First, point of view. The story is narrated from a third person limited point of view, mostly focusing on Paul's thoughts and feelings. This perspective allows readers to understand his inner struggle and motivations while maintaining some distance from the outside world. Setting. The story takes place in early 1900s Pittsburgh, a working industrial city, and later in New York City. The setting reflects the contrast between Paul's dull working class environment and the glamorous artistic world he longed for. The astro absorber shift from oppressive and bleak in Pittsburgh to exciting but friendly in New York. Style. Willa Carter used detailed descriptions and physiological insight to develop characters and mood. Her writing balances realism with subtle touch of symbologies and modernist exploration of the mind. Fourth, tone. The tone is often symbolic but critical. Carter shows understanding for Paul's dreams and pain, but also critiques his shows and the society that isolates him. Imaginary. A character used visual delayed, brilliant flowers, lights, balloon curtains, a show to reflect Paul's emotion state. Figurative language. Character use metaphors and symbols to depict meaning. For example, Paul's life is often compared to a stage or performance. Embarrassing the theatre of his personality and his desire to live or different roles. Symbologies. Object the occasion pose were his boldness and sensitive. The hotel room, his fantasy of the perfect life, and the train, his tragic end and surreality to reality. And irony. There is situation irony in Paul's story. He tries to escape his dull life by extending and living lavish, but it also leads to his downfall. The story ends in tragic because his desire for escape lured him to the ultimate escape date. Literary deserve and structure. Dialogue. Dialogue is used sparingly but effectively in Paul's case. Conversations reveals to the tension between Paul and his subordinates, especially with her teachers and fathers. Conflict. There are two main types of conflict in the story. Inter-conflict, Paul struggling with her himself between his doors to life in a world of beauty and the harsh burning reality. And external conflict, the opposition between Paulus and authority figures like his father, teachers, and society at large. Forrest had Darwin. There are several clues throughout the story that hint at the tragic ending, such as Paul growing, the separation, and the feeling that his life in danger. Flashback. Although the story that mostly told is chronology order, there are moments when memories or past events and mentored to between explain Paul's personality and motivations. Allusion. The story includes indirect reference to artists and musical culture, such as the importance of Carnegie Hall and theater. Reflections about idealized work. Repetition. Carter used repetition of certain ideas and symbols like Paul's obsessions with beauty and health to emphasize the central them and his emotional state. Parallels. There are parallels structured in the narrative, such as the contrast between life in Pittsburgh and life in New York, which reforms the conflict between reality and fantasy in the story. Themes and meaning. Alienation and identity. Paul feels he doesn't belong in the world he was born into. Appearance versus reality. He lives in a fantasy world, avoiding harsh trust. Materialism and art. The story questions what is really happens. Is it health and beauty or love and honest? And mental health. Paulus belongs to guess emotional insatiable or depression. These men are universal and still relevant today. Many young people struggle with expressions, identity, and mental health. Significance and impact. This inscribed in the heart of the story. It shows Paul finally living the life he dreams of but only temporarily. The beauty of New York is described in almost magical terms, but is a fragile illusion. The final essence when with Paul's suicide are tragic but meaningful. Carter doesn't hurt him cruelly. She shows how society fails people who think different and how devastating it can be when someone feels there to no way out. Conclusion. Powell's case is not just a story about rebellious teenager. It's about what happens when dreams and reality crash. Willa Carter used language, emotions, and symbology to make us feel Paul's inner conflict. This story changed us to think about how society treats dreams and reminds us that sometimes understanding and compensations could make all the difference. Thank you.